Hoi there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to Football Talks. Week 13's in the books, and we're on to Week 14. I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, what's going on?
Alright, let's get started. Let's go to perhaps the most closest game we've had this week. On Thursday, actually. The Cowboys and the
Right.
Vikings. This game ended on a bit of a controversial no call. With the during the 2-point conversion to tie the game, Sam Bradford was hit on the helmet, and the refs didn't call that. I will say though, had that been someone like Aaron Rodgers, especially, and he bitched for a flag, he'd get it, right, Bill? Why is that, Bill? Why do the refs would favor him?
I mean, it's always that superstar treatment. If it's any of these quarterbacks, and that is, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, or Drew Brees, or any of them, oh my God, you would get a flag in a heartbeat. But
Actually,
if
I
you
don't know
were,
if I'd put Brady on there anymore after with Goodell's little shit scandal with the Patriots at Deflategate. I actually have a point to make about that. So, not that I disagree with you entirely, Bill. I guess I could do, but there's a point I have to mention when we get to the Patriots-Rams game of a no call, of a dirty no call from the Rams. But
it's more the issue that it's more the referees rather than
yeah, but you
way
know
up
they have
high.
some favorites, like Jordy Nelson. Like, there is a flag, guys. Gets his flag most of the
Oh
time.
yeah, oh definitely.
But
You
him
know,
and Aaron Rodgers, they'll get their flags typically. But someone like Cam or Carson Palmer, or in this case Sam Bradford, will not get the flag. And then especially it's the Cowboys. But so yeah, I mean I'll get to Cowboys factor when a little bit later when I talk about Zeke Elliott and we get to MVP stuff. But yeah, there was a controversial no call. Would it have made a difference? At the very least, it would have given them a retry. I don't even think they would have made it because whether Bradford was hit or not, it looked like he was going to overshoot. I don't know who he was throwing to. I think Kyle Rudolph. I don't know, but regardless, this was perhaps the hardest earned victory that the Cowboys have ever had. I'm not even talking about the Eagles game, but because momentum was entirely on their side. But on this one, the Cowboys had to fight for every single point, and to come out with a win as ugly as it was, it's like when with the Raiders and the Texans game. It was ugly, it was a little controversial, but you still won, and that's all that matters in the long run, right?
yeah.
So, with that said, I'm pretty sure there is absolutely no way the Seattle Seahawks, or even the Lions for that matter, will take the first seed. If you had any hope for them not to get home field advantage, this was the game, or one of the few games you wanted the Cowboys to lose. I would have said as well the Giants game and the Lions game, maybe Washington, but as long as the Cowboys beated the Buccaneers and any of those other three teams, including the Vikings, they're very likely to secure home field advantage, not just the division. In fact, with this win and the Washington football team loss, as long as the Cowboys beat the Giants or they just win another game after that, they lock up the division.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, Bill, but this was the first time I think we saw Zeke and Dak Prescott for a little bit look like a rookie. And honestly, for all this praise the offensive line gets and saying it's the best line, they looked like an average line. The Vikings were playing like this was a divisional game with the playoffs on the line, because it absolutely was. And they lost, which is unfortunate because this was the best defensive showing since, I want to say, week 2 when they opened up against the Packers.
Yep.
So,
I would agree with that sentiment. They were playing with a lot of
and
heart and
and let's not
valor.
forget, they were playing for their coach who wasn't even there. I mean, even though this was a loss, and there's a chance that the Vikings may still be without Zimmer because of his emergency eye surgery. Because when you have eye surgery, you can't get in a plane because it's like a compressed uh, space up in the air. So
Yes.
he can't, like, what would you suggest if this was like, say, if he had to go to Lambeau, for example, You could just take a car. You're going from state to state. That's it. But you have to go from Minnesota all the way to Florida, and you have to do that back as well, most likely. That's not going to happen. So I'm pretty sure Mike Zimmer is going to be gone for next week. But I'm going to say, their special teams coach, I don't think he'll have a shot at a job this year because I don't think there are going to be many good opportunities. But I would not be surprised if people start calling him up if he beats Jacksonville this week, which I think that's who they're playing. Yes, the Vikings are going to Jacksonville this week, so pretty sure that's a win. And if they win, that's going to probably boost his odds. I don't know where he'd go. I wouldn't get into that. But, yeah. Anyway. So, Bill, I kept saying that I don't think this Cowboys line was the best line in the NFL. I still say it's the Raiders. And the Raiders have played. Let's see who they've played. They've had to deal with the Chiefs. They're going to play them again this Thursday, so if it's a good enough showing and they could contain Justin Houston enough, well, I would start going on to Twitter and saying, yeah, I think we can all see who the best offensive line is, because I always thought the Cowboys were number 2 offensive line behind the Raiders and in front of the Titans, because those are my top 3 lines. But I would say it brings me a bit of worry, but because the Vikings aren't making the playoffs, I think there's only maybe 2 teams who I think can really pressure that line, and it's the Seahawks and Bill. You're going to be surprised with my other team that I have that could possibly disrupt that offensive line. Do you want to take a shot at who it is? It's an NFC team, so we'll eliminate the AFC.
Tampa.
No. I'll just tell you. Detroit.
Oh.
I was right,
Yeah.
Bill. I was right in what I said. Just we'll get to the Lions game in a bit, but I just need to remember brag about the defense. In fact, I'm putting it on the notes. But anyway, so yeah, those are the only 2 teams who I think are disruptive enough in terms of the front 7 to the line that could possibly get to Dak. Which this shows that yes, as great as these 2 are, they are not invincible, and they can be rattled, and they can have their plays disrupted. Zeke fumbled the ball, I think, twice. He was lucky to recover it once, and the other time he outright lost it. So
Yeah.
this was the show that yes, we all know Zeke Elliott or Prescott's going to get Rookie of the Year, probably Elliott, but I think this should at least I would tell Cowboys fans, yes, be excited for your team, but just remember, this can all go south. Maybe not for the whole season. The regular season, it's fine. You're all clear. You're all clear for the division as well. There's no way you're losing that.
There's no practice for the intensity of a NFL playoff game. It's on a whole different level of intensity.
Yeah, and some of these players know what it's like, others don't. Especially those 2. I know my friend Andrew, aka Weeb Drew as I call him, the fucking weeaboos. That I tell him, it's like, the Cowboys have had an easy schedule. I just want to mention that as well. It's not that I'm disrespecting the Cowboys, as some Cowboy fans, quote unquote, I would call them bandwagoners, especially because, Bill, going to college this week, I've noticed a lot of people are wearing Cowboy stuff. Now, I have one teacher who's always been a Cowboys fan, talk to her every week about it, and she's always been a little skeptical, rightfully so, because, some Cowboys teams always disappoint when it matters most and all that, but, cautiously optimistic is a good way to be a fan, because, everything can go south in a heartbeat. Isn't that right, Carolina? But, yeah, but I've noticed a lot of people are wearing Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott jerseys. Or just having new Cowboy gear. You can tell when it's new because it looks like it was fresh off the factory or just got there to your house. But, yeah. The bandwagon's coming, Bill. I told you it's coming. I told you it's coming, and just wait till playoff time. It's like, yeah, I've always been a Cowboys fan since they started winning. But I'll save the bandwagon stuff for playoff time. But
always the term sophomore slump. So,
define that
if
for
they're
me,
not
Bill.
in the second year, the player slumps compared to the first year. And you have two rookies that are going into their second year. What if they both have a sophomore slump?
Well, I would say that's
Well,
what the Panthers are going through right now, and the Cardinals. Well, no, the Cardinals were in their third year of trying to hit a big streak because 2 years ago they would have been Super Bowl favorites, if not going to the Super Bowl in their own stadium, until they lost both Carson Palmer for the year, and then I think what was it, Drew Stanton, or whatever was before that. Yeah,
yeah, Drew Stanton. I think it was Stanton.
I don't know if he was
Well,
the second or third string, but whatever. You lost your main quarterback and your backup. That's so I would say they were on their junior year, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of teams having a bit of a sophomore slump this year. I've noticed, but yeah, good Cowboy win. I will give them that, despite all the shit I give the Cowboys. I'm just trying to say that be cautiously optimistic because it can all go wrong in the playoffs, and you don't have another week to get ready for it because you're gone. This ain't the NBA or MLB where it's like game 1 of 7 or game 1 of 5. Nope, you have one game, 60 minutes on the clock. You got to win in that hour. But yeah, there's not much else I can say on the Cowboys aside from the little slack. I remember. Before we move on, I wanted to mention about the Zeke Elliott MVP race because everyone's saying, "Oh, there's no way Zeke Elliott will win because he's not a quarterback." And yeah, under normal circumstances, I would agree with you because J.J. Watt didn't stand a chance to Aaron Rodgers. And other times, some people might say, Von Miller and Khalil Mack have a shot at being MVP, but let's be real. Do they have a shot at it this year? I don't think they do. Because you have Prescott as an MVP candidate, you have Derek Carr as an MVP candidate, you always have Tom Brady as an MVP candidate, and I would add Stafford. I don't know about Matt Ryan now. I'm starting to think he's starting to lose it, which I think it's just their bad defense finally coming to haunt them. But yeah, that's the thing. You have a lot of quarterbacks who will probably take away all of your votes, and it just won't matter. But with Elliott,
put it this way.
what?
I'll put it this way. I think David Carr is winning it.
I hope so, Bill. He's the one who I want to win. I mean, I'm pretty sure when we get to our own MVPs, I don't know who you're going to pick between Carr, Brady, and Matt Stafford. I'm guessing you're going to pick Stafford, and I won't blame you. I would give it to Stafford too, but I just know he's not going to win unless he gets to my record of 12-4, because that'll shut up all the naysayers. Because they already are shut up because they won comfortably this week. But if that streak happens again and again, where you just say you just stomp on the Giants, stomp on the Cowboys when they're not even playing their starters most likely, but that's not something, or just outright murder and get revenge on Green Bay, how will he not have a shot at it as well? I like this MVP race solely because if one player hits a big stride right now to at least the end of the season, I think they can steal it. They can steal it from anyone. But I don't know. What do you think, Bill? You agree? You think that if something like that were to happen for Stafford, he has a legit shot of stealing it away?
I do think that is a legit thing that could happen.
Yeah, but anyway, to focus on Elliott, this is why I think he has a shot. And I mentioned it before, but I'll mention the other point. One, he's a rookie. I don't think a rookie has ever won the main MVP award because they're not banned from that award. It's not like, oh, you're a rookie, you're only allowed to win offensive and defensive rookie of the year. I don't think that's not necessarily banned, so he has a shot. But here's the thing, after a game like that, you have to really go down the stretch and pace up and break some more records. And the other factor, this is I think the most important, he's a Cowboy. Dallas is the one team the NFL will give almost every week an MVP or a primetime slot. Because if you count Thanksgiving and this week, because that means now the Cowboys will have 5 weeks, over a month's worth of primetime games. You had the Thanksgiving game, you had the Thursday night game, this past game, then you have Cowboys at Giants, that was predetermined. You had the Lions and Cowboys on Monday Night Football, Week 17, the final MNF game, and then week 15, there was another flexing, possibly the last one of the year, where instead of the Bengals Steelers, it was switched to the Cowboys hosting the Bucks, because the Bucks are great now, Bill. I wouldn't say great, but they are upsetters. They are the upset kings, I would say, right now. But yeah, so all those 5 weeks, that means a lot of people are going to be watching those games because Cowboys draw so much attention whether you love or hate them. And the NFL, it would be a NFL thing to give a rookie Cowboy an award, because that means it will just start showing up, is he the greatest of all time? Especially if they win a Super Bowl. Someone's going to say, and I know it, if it happens, Bill, I will dig this clip up and quote and put this quote on there, and this is what I'm going to say. Someone, if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year, and especially if Zeke Elliott has a good enough part in it, someone's already going to start saying that Ezekiel Elliott could be one of the greatest of all time, possibly even better than Adrian Peterson. Someone out there is going to say it, and it's going to start drawing debates. It's going to make people pissed off, or Cowboys fans like, yeah, he's already the greatest. But what, Bill?
See, I'm always of the idea that you have to give a young player 3 or 4 years. Really, you can't really make any judgments off of a young player until really their 4th NFL season.
Yeah.
To see what they truly are.
Yeah.
And it's still too early to anoint Ezekiel Elliott like the savior of running backs.
Well, I'll tell you this: if the Cowboys win the NFL or the Super Bowl, the NFL is going to be saved because their ratings are getting lower, and a Cowboys win, or hell, even a Raiders win, could very much bring the Super Bowl the Super Bowl era of the NFL to a new renaissance. Kind of like how the NBA is with the Warriors. When the Warriors won the finals 2 years ago, the NBA felt rejuvenated, like revitalized after what happened, and I think that might happen here if they win.
And just one other point on the ratings is they've sucked all the fun out of the game, so no wonder why the ratings are going down.
If
there's no fun in the game. Oh, am I going to see that Terrell Owens take a thing of popcorn and dump it in his face mask? No, because
that'll draw a flag.
The NFL doesn't like having any sort
of. At this rate,
stuff.
just shaking in other players' hands will get a flag for coordinated celebration.
Exactly, and it's stupid, and it needs to stop. What the NFL should do is put a goddamn stage next to the freaking end zone and let the players dance off to the side as they're kicking the extra point.
Exactly.
Let them do whatever the hell they want to do and have like a 10-second stage or whatever on the side where there's a camera sitting there and like, oh, they can do anything they want on this stupid little stage.
Yeah. That's what I'd like to see. If you want to see a video about this, where there's a video from Total Pro Sports or TPS on YouTube. Look them up, and there's a video that came out last week about 10 reasons why Goodell should be fired, or just why the ratings are down, I think, something like that, and it talks about that, and I can't help but agree entirely. But yeah, I think a Cowboys Super Bowl win will just rejuvenate the NFL as a whole. But anyway, let's move on, Bill. Now let's go from this type to low. I could not have been more wrong in my predictions, and I'm starting to just get numb and accept it, because the Texans disappointing me once again. You go to Lambeau, granted it was cold and icy, and Charles James, I'll just get this one out there, who was a Hard Knocks star. He's cut now because he tripped in front and let Jordy Nelson get that touchdown. Now, would I blame him for that? No, not really. I mean, yeah, they put the clown suit on him, but that terrain, that was icy snow, not the kind that just melts and goes away. It just stacks, and it's slippery. It's not the kind you can just walk on, and it would just leave a big hole where your foot was. No, this is the kind you can... It's sleek, it's slippery, it's really hard to catch the ball. Hell, sometimes it's really hard to even just run the ball. But that's what happened, and it was after that just felt like Aaron Rodgers looked like not his old self, I would say, because for a team without Clowney or Watt, Merciless turned it up, and some of the secondary played a little bit better up until where, he was throwing touchdowns like no tomorrow. But the defense, I'll credit the front seven. They play hard. They always do. But it's what I did fear, because the secondary really does feel like an Achilles heel. Like, even if this team played like I expected it to, when it maybe go 10-6, I think their biggest flaw would be the secondary. Any team that has like a scorching hot offense, like the Patriots or hell even the Raiders, could possibly torch them, because I don't think it's because Kareem Jackson and Jonathan Joseph are getting old. I just think something is off in the with the secondary team, and I don't know what it is. They just have to fix it over the course of next year.
It very possibly could be just the special teams coach, and maybe they've just lost respect for him, etc.
And they hired a new one, but I don't know what's. I don't know what's going on. It's just the secondary, Bill. I don't know. The defense on the front is still good. Even when they lose players, because they didn't have Clowney for this game or John Simon, who's leading in tackles for loss for the team. But Benardrick McKinney, who I swear, Bill, I think that guy's going to get paid sooner than he wants, because I think he's good.
Right.
And then Merciless, I'm glad they paid him earlier, because I sure don't want to pay him now. But it's just I don't know, Bill. This is a team that's kind of like the Rams in a way. You don't have a good offense because you don't have a good quarterback. And here's the thing, unlike the Rams, they at least have good wide receivers and good running backs. They just don't have a quarterback.
Right.
And by the way, Tom Savage, I was hoping for him today, but no, there's no way he would show up, because he was in the hospital from the night before because of an infection to his arm. Don't know where that came from, but I don't know if
staph infection.
I'm not sure. They say he's gonna start. He's gonna not start, but he's gonna be in the game for against the Colts this week. But okay, Bill. Now I'll say this: Osweiler, I can't say he truly had a bad game. He didn't throw a pick. He threw 2 touchdowns. The second touchdown, I would call that garbage time, because, yes, if that happened in the third quarter or before that, that would have looked like an amazing touchdown. And because before that, all the plays before that, you saw the Packers they weren't sprinting. They were just jogging along, maybe go to a light run speed. They were not trying. They knew they won the game. I mean, it would have been funny. It would have been funny to me, Bill, if they got the onside kick and actually tied the game, because then it would have been It would have been like a reenactment of the NFC title game from 2 years ago, aka the best title game you'll ever see in your life, where the Seahawks come back because the Packers just put their foot off the gas, thinking, "Oh, I got this. This is over," and blew it.
They totally blew that game.
Yeah.
Too.
Like, if that happened here, I would guarantee you Mike McCarthy would be on a seat so hot right now, no snow in all of the country could cool him down. Because,
exactly.
But the offense for the Packers, they played hard run game like all day and made the Texans look bad on terms of the run. The Texans have always been bad in terms of the run, but Aaron Rodgers still looked hobbled. He wasn't as mobile, and I think that's what's going to cause him to not make the playoffs this year, because he's not healthy, because of the hamstring. And this always happens around wintertime. Aaron Rodgers gets some kind of injury, whether we know of it or not, and he's always playing a bit disabled, I guess.
Right.
But because remember 2 years ago when the Lions had a shot to win the division at Lambeau, and you heard that they had all 3 quarterbacks activated just in case Rodgers was out and they needed to desperately get a win. I mean, he came back, but but that just shows that he is getting more and more fragile as time goes along.
And it's all those hits he's taken as a young quarterback running all over the football field,
I think that's what we'll see happen to Andrew Luck at some point. Because as great as Luck is, I don't see him lasting much longer, as long as someone like Peyton.
I
Like,
mean,
I think he'll retire at what, 35? Get rid of Winnipeg, retire 41, 40. Yeah,
40
so.
definitely.
Yeah. I think he'll just last less because his body won't take it. But anyway,
I mean, and true.
that's not the rant. So for once, I will not rant too much on Osweiler. I want to give him so much shit because the only thing I have in terms of criticism, they still throw short of the sticks, but they're not doing it as good enough as say the Vikings. Which, if the Vikings get into a rhythm with their short passing offense, they eat up the clock and they will just tire out your defense, which is surprising. Normally, running the ball hard is what tires out a defense, but if you do it right, you can short pass all day and you will just tire out a defense that way. But in this case, it's going wrong. He's throwing off, and sometimes he'll just throw it to actually another Packers player, or in last week's case, the Chargers. I mean, again, no pick, but still, not everything. I mean, things could have gone worse if you ask me with Osweiler, but they're not going to bench him. They're just not, unless he gets hurt. But Bob McNair, the owner for the Texans, came out yesterday and said, "Don't criticize him. You shouldn't put it on him." And guess what he did instead? Look, I know it's going to sound hypocritical because we call, or especially me, I call out any player who plays wrong, but you know what? It should be up to the fans, in some cases the pundits, to criticize like other players, specific players. But when you're the coach or you're the owner, you should not call out your own team players who play under you. You should not do that. Bill, why is it a bad idea to do that? Whether you're the coach, GM, or the owner.
Then the players don't respect you as an owner. Not only your own players, but players that are around the league also pay attention to that. Like, oh, that owner says that about his players. I don't want to play for a guy like him.
Yeah, and they might leave.
Exactly. That is not the recipe for success. It's a recipe for failure. It's sort of like what a Cleveland Browns owner would do.
Yeah.
He would criticize his team and then, hey, I'm not going to play here anymore, and leaves. And then you get no one that plays there eventually, and then you get stuck going 0-16 every year. So it leads to a lack of respect for ownership and the high brass.
Yep. And Bill, in my scale from 1 to 10 in terms of how much I'm afraid that Hopkins will leave Houston is currently at a 3 right now. Before, 2 weeks ago, it would have been at a 1, but now it's growing to a 3. And if the Texans go, say, 6-10, I would put that up to a 7, maybe 8, depending on the day, because I don't think he'll leave because the team options that can pay him are bad. Well, you got the Browns. The Eagles, I can see maybe making a good push for him. Maybe the Rams as well. But the only team I can legit see have a shot at taking him is the Eagles. And I would not want to see Hopkins going up against Dallas every year. Because if Carson Wentz gets a Hopkins-like player, an elite receiver, the Eagles would not be, what record are they right now? They would not be 5-7. I think they would actually be, flip that, I would say they'd be 7-5 actually. I would think they have a shot at a playoff spot right now if they had a player like Hopkins, because they have no wide receivers. But, yeah, so let me just explain, because here's what McNair said. He didn't call anyone in particular. He just broadly said the entire wide receiver core. He's like, if they caught some of the balls like they were supposed to, it would have been a different game. Granted, yes, it was snowy. It was like a mixed snow. It was rain and snow, or sleet. Then it just became snow. Slippery snow, but still snow. So yeah, those are harder to catch a little bit. But at the same time, you still should not be saying, yeah, hey, wide receivers that I pay you millions of money to do, you should stop not catching balls, because some of that still does go on Osweiler, especially when he underthrows, overthrows, or is completely off. I don't like McNair as an owner right now. I'm starting to not like him at all because he defends Osweiler to no end, and he's like, first I remember he mentioned the whole, he's a rookie. Yeah, you pay $72 million for a guy to be a rookie. The only player I would do that to in his rookie year was Andrew Luck. But
Yeah.
but seriously, this guy is blaming everybody but himself. And if O'Brien gets fired, Bill, I will personally call out Bob McNair if that happens, and Rick Smith as well, especially if you take both of them out, because that was you hammering the table, and you're just putting a scapegoat. Because sadly, we can't fire owners. If we could, I would have fired Jerry Jones 5 years ago, and maybe I'd be regretting it now. But at the very least, I would take Jerry Jones' power away, because after this year, I still don't think he deserves it. Because if he's just going to draft more offensive players, because he's the polar opposite of Rex Ryan, because you don't need defense, you just need offense, flashy offense, I might add, one that gets you the ratings, then it's okay. But, I just cannot stand McNair blaming everybody and everything but himself. You banged the table for Osweiler. You demanded that your coach and GM get him and back him up, because I don't know if O'Brien was entirely for this. I just don't know. He's going to say he was. He's going to say he was the guy, because you're the head coach. You have to back up your players. O'Brien's not going to throw a player under the bus. He's going to say we as a team did bad and yes, that is typical Coach Garbo or Jargo, whatever the word is. But at the very least, you're not creating a bad environment. If I said, oh, hey, as Bill O'Brien, I think, say, Lamar Miller isn't running as best as he could. I know he can run better. He was just playing bad. He's playing sloppy. No, you don't say that. You say the whole team just wasn't playing to the best that it could, and we have to fix that.
Exactly.
We can criticize them a little bit because we are not part of the team. Because we won't cause chaos. A player or a coach will not lose sleep if I say that they're not doing a good job. But if their owner is, then that's a problem. They have to worry about that, because it's just bad. Because that's a red flag for your career. But
yep.
Anyway, Bill, I just want to move on, because the Texans, I can say now, will not make the playoffs. If they wanted any hope of that, they had to win today. They had to, and they didn't. Let's move on, Bill, to the throne of ease. I won't spend too long on this game, because the Patriots, once again, they made Jared Goff look like garbage. They made him look like trash. Now, to me, I just wish they started him earlier. Maybe he could have stolen some games for them. They might have an extra win or two. People are already calling Jared Goff a bust, but ultimately, I just think he's in a bad system. Because the difference with Carson Wentz is that Wentz had a better offensive line to start with. He had about the same level of a run game. The difference is that they have both Darren Sproles and Ryan Matthews, whereas the Rams just have Gurley, and everyone knows how to deal with Gurley now.
The other thing is Gurley's having what we described earlier, the old sophomore slump year.
Yeah, and here's the thing, the Rams won't have a first pick next year. They gave it away. They traded it to the Titans. So
Yep.
The worst is that the Titans will have 2 first-round picks if they make the playoffs. So here's the thing. Theoretically, let's pretend that the Titans make it to the title game. Forget who. Let's forget about it there. They made it to the title game and lost. So they would probably be one of the last 4 teams on there. But guess what? If the Rams finish where I say they're going to finish, which is if their final record will be 4-8, or not 4-8, 5-11. I don't think they're going to even hit 7-9. They're going to go 5-11. That means they're going to have around, let's say, the 10th pick in the draft. Let's just make that estimate. So not only will a team that went to the AFC title game will have their pick at the bottom, because good teams should not get all the talent, but they're also going to have a pick in the 10th spot. So
right.
The Titans really wanted this trade. As things stand now, I'm not saying
Oh yeah.
Goff is a bust. I believe in him. I think he's good. If he came to say Houston, I think he'd play much better because he has a run game and he has receivers.
I agree with that 100% right there.
That's why last year I was hammering the table for the Texans to lose out because you would have had a shot at Goff. Because the Eagles would have taken Carson Wentz. And like I said in one of the mock drafts I did by myself earlier in the year, I didn't think the Browns would take Carson Wentz because this guy just started making things, and he had issues where down the stretch his mechanics would start to get weaker, and that's Carson Wentz's big flaw. That's why he was a bit of I wouldn't say a toss-up, but a bit of a risk, just like Goff, because Goff wasn't entirely NFL ready. But if you started him and made him NFL ready, like I say Rick Smith does, like if you're my pick in the first round, you're going to start. You're a starter. But
Yeah.
that didn't happen. Anyway, but let's move to the Patriots side because Bill, the Garrett Blount, I think he's still having his last hurrah. 4th and 1 he goes all the way to the house, and it was incredible, but I think LeGarrette Blount should make the Pro Bowl, but I just don't see him doing it. Not just because he's a Patriot, but also just because there's so many other running backs that are good. David Johnson. I would even put Theo Riddick on there.
On the AFC side, he would definitely go. Because
Probably.
they're going back to the AFC NFC format.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I would say the best AFC running back is LeGarrette Blount
Actually, you know who I got? I have Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell's pretty good. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw him, but how he ran against the Giants was great. He just, like some say, one of his greatest traits for a running back is that he has patience. He'll stop and he knows where to go next. If there's a hole, he will stop and start again. Most running backs don't do that because they don't believe in stopping and starting because it takes momentum. But he does it right somehow, and I saw that because I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see it, so I was paying attention, and yeah, he does do that. There were 2 holes, and he knew which one was collapsing and which one was open. If he went straight to the right, he would have been forced out of bounds. But then he went to the left and got even more yardage than he would have if he went right. It's really good. So I would say among the AFC, the running backs would probably be LeGarrette Blount, maybe, but Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell, and I don't know about Jay Ajayi. I don't think he'll make it, but I would say he has a shot now that you bring that up.
Jay Ajayi definitely has a shot. I mean, really, those are the 4 best running backs in the AFC. And then you could make a case for LaShawn McCoy of Buffalo.
Oh yeah, I can't believe I forgot about LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy's going. He's going. He's going. Just like when he runs for like 75 yards to the house.
Overall, I mean, they probably take 6, 7 running backs. You know,
yeah.
I
think they take 6. But anyway, so Bill, Tom Brady win 201, and my favorite thing, Roger Goodell did not personally congratulate him. He won't. You salty! You salty! You doing everything you could to not let Tom Brady go to a Super Bowl, and it's failing as things stand right now. The Patriots are always relevant.
Weren't they playing in Los Angeles?
No, they were playing in New England.
That's why Roger Goodell's never going there.
He's never going there.
Nope.
But oh boy, Bill. There's this one play I want to talk about. It was a catch and into out of bounds. It was caught, but I forget who it was. I don't know who it was, but it was a Ram player. After when one of the Patriots player was trying to get up, the Rams player would grab him by the face mask and pull him back down. And there's a ref watching that. He does not throw a flag. So I know you're saying that Tom Brady's excused, but you know what? I think the whole Patriots team is not excused from some plays like that. Now and again, I think they overlook some, and this was one of them. And he was looking there. If you watch the ref, when it happens, he's looking at it. Does not throw a flag. pulls his face, grabs him by the face mask. I just want to stress that. Not by the side of the head or by the shoulder. No, by the face mask, and they don't do shit. That should be unnecessary roughness. 15 yards after that, still first down. No. No. I mean, Patriots were still murdering them by then, but still. I'm just going to say this. If you want to talk about dirty teams now, the team that I would call that's dirty are the Rams, because they are playing even more undisciplined. We had stuff like this a couple weeks ago when the Dolphins went over to play the Rams because there was a fight there. The Rams have been violent, and they're playing well, I wouldn't say violent. They're just playing undisciplined, and they're just taking it out on everybody. But yeah, the Rams are I would call them the dirty team this year. But that's just me. But anyway, Bill, you ready to? I mean, we didn't talk about much of the game. Just that Tom Brady 201st win. I still say he's the GOAT. You can make a case for Montana, but I gotta go with Tom Brady. He's also got the most wins under his belt now. I don't know how you can argue that.
AFC title games has Brady been to? How many Super Bowls has Brady been to?
And won?
Overall. I mean, 4-2 in the Super Bowl. Sure, that's not 3-0 in the Super Bowl, but going to the Super Bowl 6 times,
Yeah, and making it to the title game, which they're probably going to make another title game.
They're legit going to be in the title game every year that Brady's there, minus a couple, like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Anyway, Bill, let's move on. Last game on the list. I'll be right back, though. I'll be right back, though. My throat's starting to hurt me. Okay, I'm back. Let's move on to the Lions. Bill, what did I say? I want to knock it out right now. What did I say about the Lions? Their defense was for real. And it is.
I would definitely agree. I mean, their defense came to play against the unstoppable New Orleans Saints, who were going to run roughshod over my defense, and they were going to throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the Saints were going to win everything, right?
Yeah, no. What I said, this is what I said. I said that the Lions, for these past 5 games, they were making the team score 20 or less. How many points did the Saints put up? 13. That's all they could put up. I mean, granted, it should have been a blowout, but the Saints defense played better red zone than it did the whole game. But it still looks like it was just a one-sided massacre. The Lions took the lead, never looked back, scored 7 out of 9 drives, including one passing touchdown to Theo Riddick, and then a long pass to Golden Tate. I feel like Golden Tate just did what he did to the Saints when the Lions had to make a comeback against them 2 years ago. It was great. And this Lions defense, the secondary, is hungry. Glover Quinn, my favorite safety, got I think his first or second interception of the year against Drew Brees, and it was a great catch. And then who was the other guy that got a pick? There were 3 picks, but the third one didn't really count. What?
Right, exactly. That third one was very much.
It was already a dead game. The Saints were just playing to make it look less bad. But I don't know, Bill. This was just a massacre, and I liked it. Matt Stafford gets his first win where he doesn't need to put up any magical antics to retake the lead and win the game. There was none of that. Not this time. I guess it was. I mean, this is what should have happened to the Jaguars, if you ask me. But I mean, I'll take it now because you did it in a big spot where everyone, and I mean just about everyone, was doubting you. Because Bill, ESPN all picked the Lions. And what do the Lions do? They troll them, make fun of them just with a lol, and then
they picked all New Orleans. It was beautiful. They got what they deserved. Every single one of those NFL experts, quote unquote. See, I have a bone to pick, and I love the I love that the experts consistently don't pick us against the beloved teams of the NFL. Go ahead, pick your New Orleans Saints. Everyone on NFL Network picked the New Orleans Saints against the
Everyone in my
Lions.
favorite podcast, the one I showed you, they all picked the Saints as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was picking the New
All
Orleans
but one,
Saints
Bill,
to
in
win.
Pro Football Focus. Everybody except for Gordon McGuinness picked the Lions. And guess what? I mean, just like how the Lions were trolling everyone else, they had to get the one guy that didn't and supported them in a big spot and just did the okay hand emoji. One of my favorite emojis. One of the few I actually like. Because, yeah, you gotta give credit where credit is due. Because, yeah, the one guy, it's like you're that one guy in the, let's say you're like that one Patriots fan in Seattle, in a bar where everyone else is a Seahawks fan looking down on you, making fun of you for supporting them, and then the pick happens. And you're the only one jumping for joy because they won. That's how you are. Because congratulations, NFL pundits, you played yourself. Because Bill, you and I also picked the Lions to win in a big spot when it mattered, and now everyone is believing in the Lions. And I'm gonna tell you this, Bill. I'm starting to feel not a Cowboys bandwagon effect, but I feel like I'm seeing more Lions fans because they are feeling good about themselves now. And I like that. And still bandwagon, yeah. If you're the bandwagon thing, yeah. But you know what? The Lions have been so overdue to get a season where it looks like you have a shot at the Super Bowl, but at the very least, you can break the curse of not winning a playoff game for 25 years.
Right, exactly. And here's the other thing. Right now, the Lions should not be 8-4. The Lions should be 9-3. If it wasn't for that Tennessee game with that hideous garbage referee.
Yeah,
again,
and they would have a
another
shot.
thing.
They would have a shot at the second seed. But
I mean,
what?
I'm just so dismayed that this whole season, the Green Bay Packers, right now, if we did not lose that game and we won that game like we should have won that game, right now, the Green Bay Packers would need to win against Seattle to even have a chance.
And you have to hope that the Lions lose to either the Bears, the Cowboys, or the Giants before the Week 17 matchup.
Exactly. See, that's why I get so upset when calls go against my team. And that's... Yeah, exactly. That Tennessee game haunts me because we had scored the touchdown twice on that team and was called back twice. And so that referee is absolute garbage and needs to be fired. Again, I'm on a referee tangent because it's what needs to be talked about. And the NFL and no one in the media will talk about it because the Lions were screwed. The Green Bay Packers shouldn't even be in the conversation right now.
They shouldn't be. But, Bill, this is what I say. Just Week 17, you do the same thing you did to the Saints this week, and that'll end that. But,
I want to humiliate the Green Bay Packers in Detroit on Week 17.
And wipe them out.
Aaron Rodgers throws 4 picks.
Yeah. Well, Bill, I mean... Because here's the thing. Winter has arrived for a lot of teams. When we get to our playoff predictions, which we'll get to that in maybe 2 or 3 minutes, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because, Bill, the Lions only need to win at least if this is assuming the Packers lose to the Seahawks this week, because I can't see them losing the other 2 games. Maybe the Bears could steal it. I would really love that, actually, because that would wipe them out. Because, look, if the Lions win these next 2 games and the Packers lose these next 2, I think that means that the Lions will have clinched their division. But,
it's almost all but certain. All we need is a little help.
All you need is a Packers loss and 2 more wins up to Week 17. That's assuming you don't want it to come down to Week 17. But
it to come down to week 17.
I think it
It can't.
is. I think it's like an inevitable matchup, just like with the Texans Titans game on week 17. One of those two is gonna make Sunday Night Football. But but Bill, because we mentioned the last four games, because we're at the final month of football, regular season football, and it's Bears at Lions. I mean, spoiler alert for our picks. We both have the Lions as trampling the Bears.
Yes.
We have that, and then we have after that you go to New York, which I'm starting to feel like the Lions can beat New York. I think that one will probably have some fourth quarter heroics once again by Stafford, but very much possible.
I mean, Eli Manning likes to throw interceptions.
Yeah,
Just throwing that out there.
and then week 16, Monday Night Football, Lions at Cowboys. The Cowboys will probably have secured home field advantage, so they might throw this game away. I don't know if they will, but they might. And that means the Lions could just take it, and if the Packers have lost to the Vikings, if they've lost to the Seahawks already, then you know what that means? I don't think week 17 matters for the Packers. Because if they could still win that game and still not make the playoffs, as long as the Washington football team wins, the Falcons win, or the Giants could even win some games. Actually, no. If the Giants win some games, the Packers have the edge over them. Never mind. So yeah, they could still miss the playoffs. That's why this game in particular, they cannot afford to lose, which I think they are. I'm liking the Seahawks because unlike last time they played in Green Bay, I think the Seahawks didn't know what to do on offense. Now I think they are a high-octane offense which can shred you if you give them the opportunity. But so yeah. In conclusion, I just want to say I liked watching that game because there were two games I could have watched on that day, and I had on CBS the Texans game, which I did not want to see. I knew how that was going to be. And then I had the Lions game. Looked more fun. I loved seeing Stafford throw the ball to Eric Ebron, who's becoming his safety net. He is becoming his Jason Witten, and I really like seeing that because that's how I think tight ends should play, unless you're Gronkowski or Jimmy Graham.
Oh, yeah.
You're the safety net, and I like that a lot. And then you have Theo Riddick catching passes. You have Golden Tate taking it to the house, and I loved that. That was great. It was an overdue touchdown, to be honest, Bill. But here's the thing. Why is it that Marvin Jones and Golden Tate do better when they're not playing together? It feels weird.
I think overall Golden Tate's more of a focus in that offense because the other one's not there. You know,
he's not. He's always covered more. You know, like because here's the thing: if the Lions play Seattle in the playoffs, I really want to know legit who Sherman would want to cover. They're both his former teammate because you know he's gonna give him shit for that. But what about what about Marvin Jones? Because Marvin Jones is a fast, deep ball receiver who will take it to the house because he's faster than you'll ever be most of the time if he gets the edge over you.
I think Richard Sherman would not be on Golden Tate for the simple fact that Golden Tate probably knows all of his weaknesses, you know, as a shutdown corner and would make him look really bad.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm not sure. Would you rather cover your former teammate or the guy who can be a deep threat, you know? Because, you know, he might want to cover him for personal reasons for leaving the Seahawks. You know that old, you left the locker room, you're a traitor, you're not really our friend anymore, that shit.
Right, yeah.
That's what will make it interesting. So that's why I can't wait to see that game if I really want it to happen. But anyway, so yeah, let's move on. I just wanted to boast about that. Yeah, we got it. We were one of the few people in the world who got the Lions to just take out the Saints, and I was the one that said this Lions defense is sneaky good, and yeah, sure, you might say the pass rushes and all that, but you know, sure, Ziggy Ansah don't need to do it all because their rookies are making plays. Bob Quinn gets credit for that, and secondary playing better. Which come playoff time, you need that secondary to make plays. But anyway, let's move on to the playoff predictor. It's that time of the year, one of my favorite segments. We only do it once or twice a year. Predict your own playoffs. And yeah, let's get started, Bill. Do you want to start with the NFC or the AFC?
Start with the AFC.
All right,
Let's
Bill,
just
I will
start
give you
there.
this. Do you want to talk the AFC first, or do you want to talk the NFC first?
I'm going to start off with the AFC.
Okay, then, Bill, it's your floor.
So, basically, I went into this thinking that I looked at all the weeks, and basically what's on the website right now, I think is really going to happen. I have one caveat, but really overall, what's on the website right now looks exactly like how I would pick it right
All
now.
right, then, for the
Uh,
few changes you did make, I want you to remind me which ones they were. So I want to know what you did change from the site, because I've changed it so much I can't even tell how it is. I don't want to reset my picks.
honest, I didn't change anything.
Oh, I
But
thought you did.
I have one caveat, and one caveat only, and that's the Lions can beat the Dallas Cowboys in Week 16. But my number one overall seed in the AFC, and this is going to sound really crazy, is the Oakland Raiders.
Oh God.
Going to be the number one overall seed. They will not lose a single game from here on out. I have them going 14-2 in the number one overall seed.
Oh my God, that's great. I like that. I like this kind of party.
They beat the Chiefs. They beat a bunch of different teams. All right. So the number 2 seed, winning their 4 games in a row, is going to be the New England Patriots. 2 overall seed is going to be the Patriots. I don't see how they're going to lose. They very rarely ever lose these games in December. And, they get ready to play a bunch of teams in their division, especially the Jets. They get the Jets again and the Dolphins, and they're going to beat them. All right, so my number 3 overall seed is, I think, a team that's starting to hit their stride. Le'Veon Bell's starting to, really get going. It took them a little bit, but it's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to win all the rest of their games. Cincinnati's not good in their division. Cleveland's not good in their division.
Ravens are
And
frisky.
really, the only team that's really a frisky team is the Baltimore Ravens, and I don't see them beating the Steelers. This is going to shock you, but my number 4 overall seed, I still have some belief because I still think that they can win all their games, even with Tom Savage at quarterback.
Oh, if Tom Savage started, I would actually change everything.
I'm going 10-6. I think they're better than the Indianapolis Colts by a long shot. I think they can play enough defense against the Tennessee Titans, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are nothing. So they are my number 4 seed, winning the AFC South. Now, my number 5 seed in the second place team in the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs. The only game that they lose is this game against the Raiders tomorrow. That's the only one that they're going to lose for the rest of the way. They're going to go 12-4. They're done beating Denver. The defending champs, spoilers, are not in here because my number 6 seed, the only team that they're going to lose to is the New England Patriots, and that's the Miami Dolphins.
Wow, Bill, you have a somewhat
Dolphins.
similar design to mine.
So there's my AFC playoff picture.
All right then. Okay, Bill. My turn. I'm gonna go. Okay, in order 1 to 2, Patriots, Raiders. They're gonna finish at 13-3, but because the Patriots will have won more, I think it comes down to their division games. I want to say, because the Patriots have only lost No, I don't know. I forget. I don't know. The tie breaking procedure is complicated, but anyway. Um, so Patriots 1, Raiders 2 at 13-3. It could shift, but I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I trust them to get the home field. But you know what? The Raiders could. I think they could go into New England and actually beat them there. But anyway, my third seed, I think this team is going to get frisky because Joe Flacco seems to play better when it's cold because I have the Baltimore Ravens winning the AFC North. I understand, Bill, with the Steelers, but I feel the Steelers just don't have it in them. I feel like something is too much off for them to make it. Because number 4 is going to be the Tennessee Titans. The Titans will win, and everyone will be riding on Marcus Mariota's coattails. And yeah, but it's fine because they're going to get taken out in the wild card round by the 5th seed, the Miami Dolphins at 11-5, who will clinch their playoff spot when they beat the Patriots on Week 17 because they don't care about that game too much. And my 6th seed is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. That's right, Bill. I also don't have the Broncos going to the playoffs because I said at the beginning of the season that the Broncos will not make the playoffs, and it feels like that's going to happen again, and I cannot be more excited. So, yeah, those are going to be my 6 spots. Bill, are you ready to move on to the NFC? I will start for that one, however. Bill?
Yep, I'm ready.
Alright. Okay, so, starting with the NFC, the first seed, I don't think this is a surprise. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys, 13-3. Like I said, I can't see them going in this 15-1. It doesn't sit right with me. But it's fine, because they just need to win really one game. And that's it. And they've clinched not only the division, but possibly home field. But anyway, the next team, 12-3-1. That tie, Bill, is what I said would get them the bye week. The Seattle Seahawks, because the Cardinals are not playing like they used to play, which is really unfortunate. I really wanted a Cardinals in the title game again. I feel Carson Palmer and Bruce Arians deserve a ring. But yeah, I have the Seahawks winning. I feel like their schedule is so easy, Bill, because this game against the Packers is the biggest game on their schedule now. If they win it, they will cruise to the 2nd seed because it's just divisional games against their rivals, no problem. Maybe the Rams give them trouble because that's how the Rams play with the Seahawks, but I don't think so. But if they lose, Bill, that actually opens up the hole for the Lions to take the 2nd seed, but I just don't know if that's happening. For you, Bill, I don't know who you want to win between the Seahawks and the Packers. It's a very complicated matter.
I definitely want the Seattle Seahawks to win.
Even if it gives them a bye week.
It gives them a bye week. I don't want Green Bay in the playoffs, period.
Oh, well, Bill, I am sorry. You're stealing my thunder a little bit. Because number 3, I have them going in at 12-4. They're going to make a run and not lose any more games because 12-4 Lions. 3rd seed. It's beautiful. Matt Stafford should have a shot at stealing the MVP case, and it'll be fun. Number 4, and now here's one of my surprises, Bill, because I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the division. They're gonna go in at 10-6, and I don't know how the Falcons just gave it up. The Falcons, Bill, the defense of the Falcons is haunting them so much right now. Their offense is still great, but the defense is the Achilles heel for them.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because they are just as dynamic in terms of offense like the Dallas Cowboys, but the difference is the Cowboys have a fucking pass rush. They may not have a secondary, but they have a pass rush. But
exactly.
Anyway, number 5, we're gonna have the Washington football team go in at 10-5-1. That tie helps a lot for this, but Kirk Cousins, I know they lost their game, but I think I don't think they have much to worry because, yeah, you're going to go against the Giants. And by the way, Washington could also be a Sunday Night Football nominee if it's depending on who wins this division. Depending on how things shape up, it could be one of those teams can fight for a wild card spot and the other goes home. But it all depends on the Falcons, if you ask me. Which, speaking of, I have the Falcons going into the sixth spot because their schedule is not as hard. I mean, you have to go to the Panthers on week 16. That's probably the only one you might lose. The Rams, I can see you beating, and the 49ers, I can see you beating. Then you're home to the Saints. So, yeah. Just don't lose more than one game, and you're in. That's all they have to do. Win 2 games. They've clinched a spot. That's all there is to it. All right, Bill. So yeah, did you notice I didn't mention a team there?
Green Bay.
Go back to Lambeau in the cold because that's where you're spending the playoffs at home watching the Lions, who just kicked your ass, go to the playoffs with the division crown. All right, Bill, your turn.
All right. So the only caveat is I don't like predictions, and this is forcing me to predict things. So I'm going to have the 15-1 Cowboys, even though I think the Lions can and will beat them.
So they'll be 14-2.
I'm going 15-1 just for right now how it looks. You know, just if Dak and Ezekiel play in the game the whole way, I'll give them the win, but I think it'll be a close game. But 15-1, I have the Cowboys going. They're going to win all 4 of their next games. Same goes with the Seattle Seahawks, who I have as my number 2 seed. They are going to go 12-3-1, and they're going to win all 4 of their games. They're playing Green Bay next, and obviously I want them to defeat
that
Green
is their
Bay
only hard game left. All right, Bill, who's number 3?
My 3rd seed right now is the Atlanta Falcons, and I have them winning out and basically handing my 6th seed their only loss of their next 4. The only loss that the Lions are going to suffer, which is my number 4 team, is to the Dallas Cowboys, and they're going to go 11-5. So they're going to win 3 of their next 4. But I could see them going 12-4 and taking the 3rd seed away from the Falcons. So there's still wiggle room there. So my number 5 seed right now is the 10-5-1 Washington football team. I think they're going to win out. They have a decently easy schedule to play. I think they have the New York Giants and the other team in their division, the Philadelphia Eagles, again. And that's all they have division-wise. And then my number 6 seed, which you I sort of alluded to, is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. I am going to put the Buccaneers into the playoffs playing either the Lions or the Falcons.
Yeah, but for me, it's the other way around. I have that the Falcons just do enough because they won so many games early that they can't really blow it as long as they win one more game, especially if it's against a division rival or an NFC team in general. But that's just me.
Right.
So yeah, I like yours as well. I mean, I love how we both have the Super Bowl champs out of this. The trend starts again where the Super Bowl winning team, it's like a sophomore slump. And Green Bay Packers, I don't think they have a shot. They lost too many games where they should have had a shot at winning, and yeah. Good job.
I have them going 7-9.
I think I have them going 7-9 as well. No, I have them going 8-8.
They lose to the Seahawks. I think the only game that they win is the Bears, and then they lose out.
They lose to the Vikings and then the Lions. I have them beating those two, just not the Lions. Anyway, Bill, Are you ready for the picks?
Indeed. Here we go. The Oakland Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm switching my pick, Bill. I wanted to stick with the Chiefs, but I just have this bad feeling even Justin Houston won't get them all the way because I have the Raiders winning this game.
Also have the Oakland Raiders winning this game. Oakland's offense is too much. Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills.
Well, Bill, this one is going to be a really good game. But I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. Why? I feel the Steelers. I mean, sure, you beat the Giants. I just have this feeling Rex Ryan is going to not run the table necessarily, but he's going to be playing a bit of spoiler, and I just feel the Steelers are due for laying an egg, a big egg.
I think differently. I have them, winning out. So I got the Steelers playing decently well against the Bills. It's going to be a close game, but I think
It's just
they'll
after
do
what
just
happened
enough.
with Tyrod Taylor in that Raiders game, I feel that if they didn't put their foot off the gas, they would have won. But I think Tyrod
Yeah.
Taylor is a qualified quarterback now.
All right. So next up, the San Diego Chargers at the Carolina Panthers.
I have the Panthers winning this game. I don't know. I feel like the Chargers are going to blow this one as well in the fourth quarter.
And I've got San Diego throwing all over that defense. That defense is bad. They're not. They're just not playing with any heart. They look like they just have given up on this season.
Well, Bill, I feel like we're going to have a lot of different picks this week.
So next up, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns.
Well, Bill, I'm starting to feel bad for predicting this, but I have to follow through with my guns. I have the Bengals winning, and the Browns are only 3 games away from going 0-16.
16 watch continues, and my Lions will never be remembered as the worst football team because it's these Browns. I've got the Bengals winning. Next up, the Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions.
I have the Lions. They need to get proper revenge, and they're gonna cremate the Bears. They're playing in a dome, which is fine. Get away from the weather, I guess. But I think the Lions are gonna probably win this one, 31-10.
The Lions as well. They need to play well. They're going to clamp down on Jordan Howard, and they're going to make Matt Barkley beat them. The Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm going with the Colts. I just can't trust Osweiler. I feel he's going to literally throw this game away. And Andrew Luck's going to put up 2 or 3 touchdowns on the Texans because the Texans secondary is worrying me.
We got the Houston Texans. I think the Colts demolishing the Jets was just an aberration.
Oh yeah, that's true. That was a I don't know why people are buying back into the Colts. You can buy into Andrew Luck. I say that's totally fine, but the whole package, I am not sold, and I will never be sold.
That defense is terrible, and I trust the Texans' defense more against the Colts' offense than I trust the Colts' defense.
I've got a
against
bold
the
prediction for you.
offense.
At the end of the season, Chuck Pagano finally gets the boot.
I agree. Next up, the Minnesota Vikings at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I've got the Vikings, Mike Zimmer or no. That defense was playing hard, and they're still going to fight. They are still going to fight for anything just to win for their coach, who's not there. And I think the Vikings are going to shut out Jacksonville in their own stadium.
The Minnesota Vikings are barely going to win. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, like 13-10, but I think it's going to be a Vikings victory. All right, here we go. The Arizona Cardinals at the Miami Dolphins.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. I feel the Dolphins are gonna win out most of their games, if not all. And yeah, I love the Cardinals team, and I respect Arians and David Johnson especially, but I just feel that they can't do enough for this.
I agree. The Dolphins are just a superior team
I
right
think
now
Ndamukong Suh is gonna
compared,
step on Carson Palmer's leg.
or something.
Uh,
Good lord.
He didn't mean to.
All right. Next up, the Washington football team at the Philadelphia
I
Eagles.
think Washington's going to just put a clown suit on the Eagles and just score high. This might be a shootout type of game, but I think the difference is it's going to always be Washington up ahead by 10 points minimum.
Agree. I got Washington as well, in a similar fashion that you just described. Next up, the 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 greatest team ever, the New Orleans Saints at the Tampa Bay
I've
Buccaneers.
got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning in a big spot. Jameis Winston, you and Mike Evans are on your way to the Pro Bowl this year.
Uh, I've also got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are going to get disrespected by the NFL media. The Saints are going to win all over these Buccaneers, right? No,
Remember, Bill, the
no.
Bucks have finally got their first Sunday night football game in how many years? Like, I
Long
legit want to
time.
know when's the last time the Buccaneers, if ever, have they played on a Sunday night? Because remember, last year was the first time that the SNF crew went to Ford Field. So yeah,
Yeah.
this I want to know: is this the first time they're going to the Bucks Stadium? Or not Bucks Stadium? Are they just going to play for a Bucks game? But whatever. It's just very crazy. This Bucks team is they've also had franchise pains, kind of like the Raiders.
Exactly. Next up, the Denver Broncos at the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans are gonna get wiped because Trevor Simeon is back and he don't want to give up his job. I think that this Broncos defense is gonna play for a push. I mean, I don't think they'll get it, but it starts here with a comfy win over the Titans.
I've got the Denver Broncos as well. This is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a 2017
I
game.
think the defense will win this game once again, like they always have.
Next up, the New York Jets at the San Francisco 49ers.
Now this is the greatest game. As long as the 49ers lose out, they'll get that. They have a shot at the first pick of the draft. I have the Jets winning.
Jets also winning. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to have a 6-touchdown game.
Oh, you
And
didn't know,
just,
Bill. Bryce Petty is the starter for the remainder of the year.
oh, Bryce Petty will have a 6-touchdown game then. Next up, the Seattle Seahawks at the Green Bay Packers.
I hope it's cold like it was last week because the Packers fans are going to be feeling cold in their hearts because they know that the Lions are going to take the division way before they even play on week 17. The slump starts now. Seattle will win. Winter has come for Green Bay.
I also have Seattle beating Green Bay. They're gonna take it personal that Green Bay said that they're gonna win out, and you just don't want to upset.
And plus,
the
they're going to be
Legion of
playing for
Boom.
Earl Thomas, who's out for the year with a leg fracture.
Next up, the Atlanta Falcons at the Los Angeles Rams.
I have the Falcons. I mean, this might be a closer game. I don't know, but Jeff Fisher, he probably wants a 7-9 game because that's how he likes his regular season records, which he's not gonna get because the Rams are going 5-11.
I also have the Falcons as well. They're just gonna stomp the
I
Los
think with
Angeles
this, the
Rams.
Falcons will have secured a playoff spot.
So next up, the Sunday night game, the Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants.
The SNF crew will pray for the next version of the Odell Beckham catch. It won't happen, but I'm going to tell you, the Cowboys are going to take this one in overtime away from the Giants, and winter will be coming for the Giants.
This is play pretty lackluster game. I think it's gonna be a 2017 game again. And I think Dallas is going to barely win, and there's gonna be some questions after it.
Yep, because the refs favor the Cowboys most likely.
And then the Monday night football game, the Baltimore Ravens at the New England Patriots.
I think this will be the best Monday night game of the year in terms of what they're playing for. The Patriots don't want to get behind the Raiders. I think they're going to win. The Ravens will be lucky because the Steelers have lost. They can take this loss with still having a shot at playoff contentions.
The Patriots. I think it's gonna be a really close game.
Throne of ease. All right, Bill. Next week's Thursday game.
And that is the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks.
I have the Seahawks winning, no problem. I think this team is playing with not a chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to be playing with a lot more heart for the rest of the season. I think it's probably going to be somewhat similar. No, actually, no. This game's going to be closer because the Rams only play real football when they're playing their rivals. That's why I said the only way they can make the playoffs is if they played no one else but the Seahawks, Cardinals, and the 49ers.
And I've got the Seahawks as well. Easy.
All right, then. I think that'll do it. We will see you guys in Week 15 when the playoff picture looks a little more cleaner. See you guys later.